Hello and welcome to coverage of the TCGplayer MaxPoint Championship in Indianapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Frank Lepore.
It's true, he's in the booth with me.
And both of these players are 6-0. Ben Wienburg on the left playing mono red versus Don Lee playing green black devotion. What do you make of this matchup, Frank?
In terms of what? It seems like
in terms of who's going to win and how that plays out.
I mean, do we know if this is this? He has to have Doomwake Giants in the Don Lee list. We're waiting on deck lists right now.
That is the big draw to playing green, the black in the green devotion list is Doomwake Giant.
Yeah, because it takes out a lot of the Red's creatures. It takes out a lot like Hornet Queens. It takes out Hordling Outburst tokens. It takes out a lot of key cards and key matchups. But Ben Wienburg does have the potential to simply just beat Don out the gates. You know,
like my question is, sure, and my question is Doomwake Giant too slow for this?
Right, that's the question. That looks like a mountain on top. Are we sure this is green black? This could be Jund Devotion.
I did see a mountain.
There's a mountain in that hand.
Well, we're waiting on the deck list, and they should be here shortly, and we'll be able to confirm.
Yeah,
we're seeing the same thing you guys are at home, where with the graphic there, so it could be off.
Yeah, and that's 5 damage, putting Don to 12. And yeah, like I said, like that Courser is not doing any blocking, and that Frenzied Goblin is going to make sure it still doesn't block next turn if Ben so wishes. That is not what you want to see on turn 4.
That is kind of an embarrassing Hornet Queen. Now, if he ever gets a chance to resolve it, it feels like as long as he's not in extreme burn range, he'll be fine. But that is just a very tall order against this mono red deck.
The 2 Coursers is actually pretty solid.
That's pretty good.
He could also scry that Hornet Queen away.
Unless he has a Nykthos, in which case...
yeah, and then you just want to keep it. You probably play it next turn.
Maybe you'll be able to cast the dang thing. But it does feel pretty ambitious.
I get the feeling he's going to scry it away.
I would think I would ship it. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's got a Doomwake Giant in his hand.
That's really good.
It's pretty good. It kills.
It doesn't kill the Foundry Street Denizens, but it does let him block because Frenzied Goblin is no longer so frenzied.
Correct.
It's more like Docile Goblin at that point.
Yeah, I think Don's first order of business here is to get this board as stable as possible. The second order of business is to try to stay out of burn range.
And he did keep the Hornet Queen, so he is ambitious here. He is. Don has big plans.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about the mono red deck, at least the one that we saw at the GP last weekend, is that it actually doesn't have that much burn.
Correct.
It's
mostly
Stoke the Flames,
tiny creatures.
Yeah, tiny creatures with things to augment the tiny creatures and prevent you from blocking.
Yeah.
It did have just enough burn, though. All right, here's Titan Strength. Yeah. He's going to take a look at a scry here, and that's going to run that Foundry Street Denizen over.
Yeah, and you definitely, you'd only drop it to drop Don to 7 if you put it on a different creature. And then Don goes right back up to 9 if he plays a land. So you definitely want to get rid of one of the Coursers there. It's not great for Ben, though, because it's just not it's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to be wasting your burn or your pump spells on creatures.
Well, I mean, look, if he's worried about the whole, I mean, his opponent just kept a 7-drop on top of his library with 4 lands in hand at the time.
But that's got to be bad. Like, when you see that, you have to be like, wow, you have confidence.
But what I would think is that maybe there's some Nykthos shenanigans on the way, and that would make the Courser of Crufix a lot more important of a permanent to keep on the battlefield there.
So interesting. Looking at Don Lee's list, it has 1 mountain and 4 wooded foothills, and that's the only red, and it's for 1 Crater's Clause in the main deck.
What the heck, really?
Interesting.
So it is the green-black devotion list. It just happens to have a red Miser's Crater's Clause?
Yes.
Wow.
Which, I mean, like, maybe you just get it when you have 30 million mana and then you just kill them.
It is a win condition if you're doing the whole Nykthos thing. So.
I mean, it's just as good as, like, See the Unwritten or Hornet Queens if you have that 1 mountain.
And there's Monastery. Swift Spear hitting the red zone here, along with everybody else. And
the Goblins are 3/2s. Oh, no, they're 4/2s because he played a Crone Crusader as well.
This is just 1/2?
Swift Spear's a measly 1/2, though.
1 card in hand.
I don't know if this block is great or this attack is great for Ben. He can go Doomwake on the 4/2 Denizen. He can go Courser on the Swift Spear, which kills both. And then he takes 4, goes to 7. And Ben has 1 card in hand?
That's correct.
That doesn't seem great.
It does not seem great.
And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, it feels like that's how this mono red deck has to play, though, right? What is he going to do? Just sit there and wait around? Like,
right, and that's the thing. Once Ben runs out of gas, like, you've run out of gas for good, usually.
Yeah, he has enough mana to cast a lightning strike, with his mana.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that could be bad, too.
No bueno for that guy.
And then he also has enough creatures left over to be able to cast a Stoke the Flames if he were to draw one. So he has set himself up with potential wins, but thanks to that Courser of Crew fix, now he's at 8.
It just adds up, yeah.
It's just getting bad for him.
And that's a big dude. So Ben goes turn 6 Akroan Crusader. Don goes turn 6 Arbor Colossus.
Okay, so Ben does have a lightning strike in his hand.
It's not going to.
It's just not going to do much at this point. No. There's Pelucranos, but the thing is, Don is still going to hit his land drop, and he's actually going to get a Hornet Queen mana this turn.
He has so many big guys. Like, he could actually just play Doomwake Giant, which I have little doubt that he's going to do.
Also, can't he just start attacking here?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, after this, all his guys in -2/-2, and then Ben has no board. So I'm pretty sure Ben's just going to wait till it resolves, and then probably scoop.
Battle mode.
Playing it out.
You can just 10 him here,
10?
right?
No, you 12, right?
Why do you 12? Just 10 him.
Well,
it's 2 turns. There you go.
Yep, that's all I need.
GG.
Oh, you're willing to attack? Well, that's all I need to know.
That was a bold. I'm still surprised that Don kept that Hornet.
The Hornet Queen?
Yeah.
He looked at it and he said, "I'll get there."
We'll get there.
Yeah. So he just trusted.
I mean, he was right. Like he could have casted that turn. It wasn't the correct play as it turned out because he drew another Doomwake Giant, but
he trusted in the heart of the cards.
Wow.
As they say. What do we got in Don's sideboard? 3 Thoughtseize, 1 Nissa, 4 Nylea's Disciple. That's a real good one. Probably Bow of Nylea comes in as well because you can gain 3 from that guy. I can even see Citizen Tactics coming in as like an instant speed, tap my 2 Sylvan Caryatids and my Courser to kill your team. It seems just almost better than Hornet Queen or like the really expensive guys. 2 more Arbor Colossus, 2 more Crater's Claws, and 3 Thoughtseize. I think I said the Thoughtseize. But, yeah, I mean, sideboard, the 4 Nylea's Disciples are going to be huge in this matchup.
Absolutely, and he's got the full 4. That's his only 4 of in the board.
Yeah, that's his only 4 of in the board.
He knew. And I bet you anything that was a direct result of the success that mono red deck had at the last weekend's GP.
Yeah.
It's just like people are like, oh, that's the thing? 4 Nylea's Disciples.
I'll just put 3/3
now,
Hill Giants.
Unfortunately for Ben, his sideboard, and I mean, this is, of course, one of the huge downsides to running a monocolor deck, especially one that's so constricted on mana.
Yeah, you're just very limited in your options.
18 land deck here, yeah. You just have very few, the subset of cards that you get to choose from that exist in Standard, especially in a relatively small Standard like we have here, is just so small. But the card I was actually looking for was Harnessed by Force, which we saw at the GP.
That could have been good, actually, because Don has a lot of huge creatures.
Yeah, obviously not the Hornet Queen, but you could assume that those might come out. And you can steal a Pelucranos or steal a big blocker and get in for that huge hit, but he doesn't have it.
Yeah, if I was Don, I would definitely take out Hornet Queen. Like, I'm not going to hope that I have...
I would too.
I'm not going to hope that I can get the 7 and have this card hit play.
No, he's got way better... Doomwake Giant's great on its own. But so he's got 4 Eidolon of the Great Revel, 4 Searing Blood, and then he's got a bunch of burn spells. Lightning Strike, Magma Spray, and he's got like 2 Hordling Outbursts and a random Coordinated Assault.
Yeah. So the Coordinated Assault's good on like the heroic guys like the Akroan Crusader or the Monastery Swiftspear, who isn't heroic, but it also gets +1/+1 when you cast it. So,
I mean, the thing is, like, and this is what you'll see from these sideboards. Of his sideboard cards, he has 1 Coordinated Assault, which he also has in the main deck. Yeah. He's got 2 Hordling Outbursts, which he also has in the main, and he's got 2 Lightning Strike, which are also in main.
So he's literally just supplementing all of his main deck cards.
Doubling up a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, you're not actually combating very many strategies.
No.
But Ben is 6-0 with this deck, so. I mean, if that's the weakness, like Don might be going to 7-0 after this match. Not sure.
I think that's one of the interesting things about a deck like this, though, is that it's so single-minded. I think that's where the myth originated that these decks are easy to play.
Yeah, they're not. They're definitely not.
Which they're not. I think that's been pretty well spoken of now, that these aggro decks are not easy to play. And the main reason being that any mistake that you make with them punishes
costly.
You super hard.
Yeah, they do one thing very well. And if they try to do other things, like usually that's where they falter.
Right. But they are simple in the sense that they are very one-minded. You don't have to shift gears very often.
Yeah.
you never become
No,
the
you
control
never
player.
you never
right?
become the control
Yeah,
player.
it's just like a matter of when to attack, but you know that you're going to be attacking.
Yeah, you have to look for your percentage points, and it's a deck
Yeah.
where you have to eke out every point of damage. So,
Right.
okay, I can deal an extra 2 here, I can deal 1 here, 3 here, and it adds up, and you're just trying to get them to 0. And we can see Joe and Melissa on the back table going to game 2, perhaps. So if we can, maybe we can find out who won that first game with them.
Is she happy or sad? I can never tell.
She has the best poker face I've ever seen. Like even like when we're just playing on Magic Online, I'm like, I have no idea. You're in the zone right now.
You can't read her either. Huh?
No, I can't read her.
All right.
She just gets serious face, and it's like, no breaking it.
What is this?
This is the Realms Open Championship. This is the
What does that mean?
MaxPoint Championship equivalent for HeroClix. So if you're a HeroClix player, there's actually going to be HeroClix events here this weekend. So tomorrow there's going to be HeroClix events after the main event. So if you guys play HeroClix in any way, shape, or form, check with your local store. See if you can get some Realms qualifier events. And then maybe you can qualify for the 2015 Realms Open Championship.
Oh, wow.
What is HeroClix again?
It's like miniatures.
It's miniatures?
Yeah, it's like
You play on a map?
yeah, you play on a map, and it's got like spaces.
Yeah,
Rashad said it's a simplified miniatures game. Yeah, like you're not
Okay.
using like rulers and counting inches and stuff. You're just like there's spaces and like
And what's the theme? Like which heroes am I using?
superheroes. Like
Real
they have
ones?
Marvel, DC, yeah, licensed heroes.
ones, okay.
You could actually build a team. What is the team? So are they point based? Like, okay, so like you could have like you would say like, oh, our teams have to be 800 points or less, and each hero has like a point value.
Oh,
so
I
this
see.
guy's worth 80, you know, and then you'd make a team based on that. It's always it always appealed to me because I'm a comic fan. So I was like, oh, maybe I should play this. That's why I loved Versus System when that was a card game. All these card games have died. They're
But
like-
HeroClix has lived on, and there's some type of championship for it.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Because it's because miniatures usually have and it's like the original miniatures game, I think. So Ben leading off with a mountain, surprisingly.
Yeah, shocking, considering he's got 18 and no other
Shocking.
basics.
Which is what he could actually do with that mountain.
Yeah, looks like he's going to try to get in there with the Foundry Street Denizen as well here. Let's see what he's got. Sometimes they play 2 1-drops on turn 2 and
Yeah.
dash for 3.
I think he's going to play that Eidolon, the Great
He's
Realm.
got the Eidolon of the Great Revel, which looks like it could actually do some work here. He has it on turn 2. Donley has not played anything yet.
Despite the fact that Don Lee has a ton of expensive creatures, the way he actually plays those creatures is by a ton of cheap creatures.
Right.
So Eidolon can actually do a lot of heavy lifting here, and obviously Don Lee's deck is not prepared to kill a 2/2. Like, it's just not a thing green decks do.
I think he's deciding if he wants a Scryland or Voyaging Satyr here. Oh, he's also got a Sylvan Caryatid too, so he's actually got multiple options. Caryatid seems like the safe play.
It does, but are you going to be blocking with it is the question.
Yeah, you block the Eidolon.
And then you just, what if he has, what if he Titan Strength?
I think you live with it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think you're happy about it. It also depends on how much pressure, like if he has no black mana sources, though he does. I saw he has a Temple
Right,
of
yeah,
Malady.
Correct.
He's also got a Nykthos in his hand, too.
The old Shrine to Nyx.
Yeah. But I don't think you can afford to not block here, right? Like,
Who is Nyx?
it's a place.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, where is Nyx?
Oh, yes, correct. Yes, Rashad said that perhaps we should take a journey into Nyx. Well, was this a double Eidolon of the Great Revel? That's
Oh.
actually a little scary. You guys can't see it right now, but Marshall and Rashad are gauging Rashad's puns.
2 power.
That one rated fairly low.
It was about it was almost a thumbs down. It was very close.
So Ben Wienburg now has 2 Eidolons, which is going to make things really, really interesting here for Don. Like, he
Yeah.
wants to play that Courser of Crew Fix
But does
out
he
of
want
his
to take
hand.
4 from it?
Yeah. I mean, like, his
What-
options aren't great here,
His
right?
options
Like,
are that or don't play something.
playing
you know?
spells seems like it's probably the right way to move forward here.
Oh, goodness.
And he's got to do it in sort of an awkward fashion.
I'll go to 10.
He would like to have played the Sylvan Caryatid, or tapped the Sylvan Caryatid
But
so that you could play the land and gain a life
But then you gain
back.
1, whereas if you just block with the Caryatid, you essentially gain 2.
Right, so Don Lee did the math, the numbers came back,
We
And,
send them to professionals.
and it turns out that 2 is in fact more than 1, so Now he's in a decent spot, though, because Courser Crewfix blocking the Eidolon's pretty nice. This is where a card like Titan Strength can really shine.
Yeah, or the Hammer Hand that Ben has in his hand.
Yeah.
So you just put it on the Foundry Street Denizen, make it so that Courser can't block, and then you're getting in for 4.
I think he's actually going to go with the Frenzy Goblin and then maybe put it on that. It kind of depends.
Oh,
also,
you mean like play the Frenzied Goblin and then put it on that?
Yeah, he gives it haste, so like if he wants an additional attacker.
Oh, that's
remember
right. I forgot the haste.
Yeah, and
That's a lot of abilities.
Right.
It gives it haste +1/+1 and target creature can't block.
Yeah,
That is versatile.
it is. And
Yeah, that seems better.
Foundry Street Denizen would also get a trigger
already be
that
a
way
2. So
too.
so he actually takes
I'm
6.
currently at 18.
Okay.
And
I'm about
Don
to
goes
go
to
10.
4, which means any spell he casts
Figuring out-
that costs less than 4 is going to deal him 4 damage. So he literally has to go land, go up to 5, cast a spell, go down to 1.
And this is a beating.
I
Like,
think that's
this
the
is
end of the
very
line.
yucky.
14.
All right, he can also
Yeah,
play the
that's-
Fire Druid Crusader and Hammer Hand that thing up.
Because that's actually just 1 extra point of damage,
Assuming
and
this is resolved, I guess.
if someone carries and blocks,
Sorry,
then it dies.
can respond.
So
Make sure, I think Ben needed to make sure he's talked about his triggers there, but he's got it all.
yep. So
And
of course he can't
team.
block.
3,
Carrington probably blocks with 2. He takes 3. He goes to 3.
He's taking 7 here.
That's a lot. So now even if and then Ben is smart to do this because now even if Don plays a land and goes up to 4, he's still dead if he plays a 3-drop.
Indeed.
And I'm at
Whereas if he played the Frenzied Goblin, Don would be at a safe 5. But
He's also protected himself from Doomwake Giant quite nicely here.
yes, putting the
Yeah, you can.
yeah, the only thing that he loses to a Doomwake Giant here would be a Founder Street Denizen, which you can just deal with it. Actually, Doomwake Giant's not terrible here.
Oh, no, it's not bad at all. I think he'll play one.
Yeah, and then you still have 2 blockers to Ben's 3 creatures, which means you can
Right.
survive 1 hit. But we don't know what Ben has in hand,
Yeah, I mean, any burn spell is going to kill Don from this point.
and Don can go up to 4.
Yes.
And we know he has a land that comes into play untapped.
Right, but the problem is even if he goes up to 4, Ben Wienburg could just jam with all of his creatures and still kill him with Lightning Strike if he doesn't have Stoke, so... Yeah, but Don Lee's, he's not able to play around much at this point. Like, he is real close to being dead.
Yeah, his
here.
options are very limited. Like, obviously, you can't play Temple. You'd have to... Actually, the only other land he has is a second Nykthos. So you actually have to just lose a land here in order to play Doomwake Giant.
Yeah, I don't think you care at this point. Unless you can play 2 creatures
No,
this
you
turn.
can't create... Well, then, no, he would die.
Oh, yeah, right.
He
Because both
he
of
would
his
just, he would
creatures
take
are too
Ace.
cheap.
Bunch of cheapos. Yeah, his only option is virtually just tap his mana, play other Nykthos, tap it. Oh, he had a Forest on top. That's
Yes, he had that on top, so he's going to get to play
That's
that either
fine.
way. He needs to reveal his next card here.
Ben's like, don't care. We should still make sure that Forest is revealed.
Yeah, he
Or
needs-
the top card's revealed, rather,
yeah, he
not the
needs to show
Forest.
that.
And yeah, we got to play Doomwake Giant here.
I'm sorry.
And that's why we reveal these things.
Yeah, that's a blank.
It's like, I mean, not that it's good here, but, you know, that's the kind of card that I don't think Ben would be expecting to see.
Actually, maybe it's not a blank because we have Slowed Caryatid. Doomwake Giant puts it at +2.
But he has to cast it for 4, right? Just
Right,
to not
which is
die.
which is his board.
10, you're
Yeah, but Ben
I
has
mean,
a hammer
it-
hand.
he
No,
only
it's
needs
over.
a hammer hand or a strike or just there's like anything.
Yeah, Ben knowing about the creative clause is actually good to know. It's good information to have.
Yeah, it probably won't change much, but yes. Now, interestingly here, though, Ben takes 4, right? He drops down to 6.
And he goes to 2.
Yeah, he's going to go to 2,
Yeah,
so
he's
he
gotta do
actually
it.
needed to win this turn, or else the Creator's Clause would have killed him.
He
One
does.
of them can't block.
But he wins his turn.
I'm taking lethal.
Yes, 'cause I'm
And Don's like,
Yeah,
you've
sounds good.
got it.
All right, game 3 it is.
Super aggressive.
Yeah, interesting. You wouldn't think that the matchup would improve much for Ben Wienburg going from game 1 to 2, but
I'm not sure. I mean, like, it doesn't have to.
Those
If he just
Eidolons
the
were
Eidolons
very good.
were epic in that game. Like, just Don taking almost 10 damage. He took about 8 damage from the 2 Eidolons. Like, 4 from Courser, 4 from... was there anything else he played? But, I mean, like, it's not even about the damage you take from it. It's also about the limitations that it presents because you can't cast your other spells or else you just die. So, yeah, I mean, even if Don only took only four, which is huge, like the fact that it nullified 3 out of the 5 cards in his hand is just...
Now this is going to change a bit, though. Don Lee being on the play means that he gets a chance to like hit a mana accelerator on the first or second turn of the game before Ben can get an Eidolon into play.
Yeah.
And then Don can start casting 4 and 5 drops and just, really outpacing his opponent. Because one thing about the Eidolon is that it's only a 2/2 for 2 that doesn't change,
yeah, and it's
right?
Not,
it's not like an amazing
huge,
attack.
Yeah,
on
it's not a huge creature that you can't deal with. But, I mean, Don playing green-black, and the black isn't for removal. It's just for, like, Doomwake Giants. So it doesn't give him a tremendous amount of outs. I mean, I'm looking at his sideboard, like, he actually doesn't have removal. The only removal he has is the Creator's Clause. And did he have 1 in hand and 1 on the top last game?
What?
Did he have a Creator's Clause in his hand as well as on top of his library?
I didn't see.
Because I'm not sure if he boarded the extras in. There's 2 in his sideboard, 1 in his main deck. And I'm not sure...
He needs to find those Nylea's Disciples.
We are taking setups for Sideboard.
Yeah, oh yeah, he didn't draw a single Nylea's Disciple. No. Which would have been great because it gets around Eidolon of the Great Revel, and it also gains him life. So, like, if you can play Nylea's Disciple, gain 5 life. That just it makes life a little more comfortable.
And also, the 3/3 blocker is pretty relevant. And I think I just saw Hornet Queen in his hand, maybe.
Interesting.
In his deck.
The friendly Kristen will be happy to assist you with that. 2 spots.
If you guys are in the Indianapolis area and you guys want to come on down to the Indiana Convention Center, we are running side events all weekend. You can hear them in the background. And after this match, Marshall and I are probably going to go draft. So if the seats are empty when we get back, then that is why. We being the coverage audience. Or the
try to find a way to
audience.
defeat your 41-card draft deck.
You'll never do it.
That is awesome.
It'll never happen.
It's probably just all these events.
You'll have 41 cards, I'll have 5 colors, and we'll see what happens.
Yes. We'll be the unorthodox drafters.
I've been drafting 5 colors a lot.
5 colors actually pretty average for this format.
It's good. It's a good deck.
I'm just like, I feel like it's cube in the sense that like you just take all of the non-basics really early and then you're like, well, I can take everything now. Take all your non-basic lands real high to fix. We're in the Hoosier corridor for those interested.
Anything you'll play first?
I just want to say Hoosier.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
So Melissa and Joe on the back table there.
They're either in game 2 or going to 3.
They're very, very impressive there.
Yeah, looks like they're still playing.
More damage though.
Oh, are they are they doing mulligans right now?
No, I think they're in battle.
Okay.
Playing hatred over here.
And we'll switch to that one if this match concludes soon enough.
Which interestingly hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't actually. This is going to game 3 and like.
Sounds like plenty of time, right?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, we've had. There's been one time where we actually were able to cut to a secondary match that was still in progress.
All right, so Don Lee on the play here. First things first, you got to keep her there, Don.
There is a Nylea's Disciple, but it looks like 6 lands Nylea's Disciple.
Cannot keep.
He says that will not
That's
do.
not a real thing. So away it goes. Now Ben Wienburg, let's see what he's got. Remember, he's got an 18-land deck here. Like it mulligans fairly frequently. In fact, I think he's got a 0
I think
lander
he has
here.
0 lands. So this
Yeah.
is one of those times.
And he peels the top 3 and finds 1 mountain in there, but
That's not going to do it.
double mulligan. This has to favor Don Lee, right?
It feels like it, yes. Like the red deck, I think it gets substantially worse depending on how often it mulligans. Like
Yeah,
even 1 mulligan's pretty bad because, you have to hope that you get maybe 2 lands, 4 spells, but you might not. You might get 1 land, 5 spells. And like most of the cards in the red deck are real cheap. They're 1 mana, some are 2, but it's still if you're only able to play 1 spell a turn, it gives Don so much time. Yeah, so...
I kind of like Don Lee's chances here on a mulligan and being on the play.
Yeah, they're good. Both of those are good.
Cards that I can cast that do stuff.
So we just got word that Melissa won her match 2-0. So no back table for us.
I have one.
But she improves to X and 1.
That's true.
I had 0.
She's definitely one of the better players in the room here.
I would say her and Craig Wesco are at the top.
Yep.
And then we have very closely followed by Sam Pardee, Josh McClain.
Yep.
Ben Wienburg has seen a lot of success. So, yeah, and the other thing is, like, when you're mulliganing, it's like, I always feel a little more comfortable when my opponent mulligans. I'm like, you went to 6? I'll go to 6 too. I feel okay. You just start out a little more even footing.
I always root for him to go to 5.
I do too, but I can't, like, you don't want to do it out loud, I think. You're just like,
Oh, no, I don't do it out loud.
come on, man, just go to 5. Oh, this does not look good for Don, though.
Deal.
Keeping these Crater's Claws in is very interesting. And just like that, I feel like Don's chances have decreased.
Well, I mean, he did mulligan.
Well, obviously, but we both felt good about it a second ago.
Single Nick does.
I think Ben has a 1-lander.
Yeah, which I think is reasonable.
It
for
actually
Ben,
is when
but
you know Don's going to 5.
It's probably fine anyway.
But it gives you, it's obviously going to give you more time because Don has to hit a very specific series of cards in order to compete with the speed of Ben's deck. So I think it gives Ben a couple extra turns to hit a second land drop, or just to make sure. Like, whereas Don might not have a 2-drop or might not have a 3-drop, so you don't actually have to have all of the pieces that you might if Don was starting on a 7-card hand.
I think he's got a keeper this time.
I see a Carrington and a
He's
Satyr.
double carried Satyr.
I think it's one
maybe
land.
just the 1 land though. Wooded Foothills.
Mm,
So here's a Fire Drinker Satyr probably to
I would
kick things off.
yeah, I would imagine so.
All right, back to Don. Does he rip a land? It didn't look like a happy draw.
Oh.
No, it's probably the best card
That's
he could draw,
yes,
but
it's the best card against Ben.
against Ben, but not here. Obviously, he drew. Oh no! Hammer hand and a dude.
Oh,
So it's
that's
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5 damage.
That's real good. That's a great start for Ben.
Just a beautiful start here for Ben Wienburg, who is just going to thump Don Lee if he doesn't find. Like, if he finds a land here, he's got a chance.
Remember when Savannah Lions
He
was,
did.
was rare? Now it's like Savannah Lions is just the default. Now it's like,
And it's still rare.
yeah, it's still rare, but like, well, I mean, you know what I mean. Like, 2 or Elite Soldier.
Significantly worse.
But like now we have 2 ones for 1 that have abilities like Soldier of the Pantheon.
Hmm.
I mean, even Fire Drinker Satyr with his downfall, his drawback, you're still able to pump him, which is a pretty solid ability for a red deck. It's very painful though. That guy is a painful gentleman.
He is. All right, so there is carry added now for Don Lee, putting him ever closer. He actually has a really, really good hand, as you might
He just
suspect.
has to survive in order to cast these
Yeah,
cards.
it's all spells left in hand, but he's got another. He's got a Courser. He's got a carry added. He's got the Nylea's Disciple.
He has a 3/3 Crowan Crusader with a bunch of tokens.
He is going to get thumped here.
He just blocked a 2. Yeah,
You block the 2. You take
He
3,
can
4,
pump it.
5.
that's interesting.
Oh,
I think he forgot. That is
Don
definitely
Lee,
forget.
buddy.
19 to 9?
That head
That's
in
not
hands
the
was
one you block.
100% the I forgot about that.
Not see that one.
I think that was the game right there. Like, it's funny, a lot of times in games like this, you can see this one moment where this one play changes everything. And I think
Yes.
that was it.
We have seen many of those times here in the feature match area today. It's been a weird start to the tournament.
Like in that Mardu
He
match.
shows him Searing Blood,
Oh.
casts Searing Blood,
And I think it's game.
and
That's why.
Don Lee just blocked the wrong thing there.
Because it's 7 damage on board. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Oh, he's so mad at himself. He actually wasn't going to get there anyway. So his plan was to play Courser Fix if he didn't draw a land, which he didn't,
Yeah.
and then to flip a land and play that, but instead it would have been Doomwake Giant. So he wouldn't have got there,
Yeah,
but still,
You
like,
still don't want to make that play.
huge
and it's-
mistake.
and
Yeah.